Do you accept that women's rights should never be a bargaining tool?
I would absolutely agree that that would be our position. I'm making it clear of what I believe the Taliban's position is, for which we then need to make a judgment.
Well, with respect, Tobias, why should we give a stuff about what the Taliban think? They're a bunch of hideous misogynists who have taken the country, in terms of women's rights, back to the Stone Age. Quite literally, actually, in some cases. Women there are being oppressed on a daily basis. They're not allowed to be educated. They're not allowed to go to beauty salons. And you're talking about using women's rights as a bargaining tool. I'm simply saying, surely on reflection, you wish you hadn't said that.
You need to let me finish. You need to let me finish, Piers, otherwise I won't be able to get my point across. Okay? Firstly, it is the Taliban that I'm saying, I'm reporting, that's what I saw happening, is the Taliban are wanting to use this as a bargaining tool. They clearly don't care about women's rights. Certainly the hardliners don't. And there is a concern within the Taliban itself that many of them may splinter away and join ISIS-K. That's why we're seeing more restrictions coming in. What we're also seeing is the situation with girls' education is actually worse. When I discovered half the children under the age of 11 don't go to school at all.
So Tobias, I'm sorry to interrupt, but if it's worse than you discovered, how on earth could you put yourself to a promo video with all that cheerful music about what great guys the Taliban are? I just don't get it.
Well, you can keep referring back to the video, sir. I made it very, very clear.
Well, you put it out.
That was my error. But I've written further than that. I could only say so many things in that video, and I make it very, very clear. I put my hand up and say it could have been much better done. But I'm also saying very clearly, too, that our current strategy that we're adopting at the moment is allowing the Taliban to then run this country in a way without any influence whatsoever, because they're not listening to us.
OK, but look, you say the Taliban are doing everything to ensure the prosperity of Afghanistan and its people. That's just a total lie. They're not.
What I'm saying is that if we are serious about supporting women's rights, if we're serious about getting those schools reopened, then there needs to be quiet engagement. The shouting from afar is not working. In fact,
I'm not shouting from afar. I'm just saying that your statement that they're doing everything to ensure the prosperity of Afghanistan and its people, and they're no longer a terrorist organisation, those statements simply aren't true. They're consorting with lots of terrorists.
I'm sorry, but I never said that. I never said that they were never a terrorist organisation. I never used those words. This was the very organisation that harboured the very people that killed my brother. So please don't put words into my mouth. Okay, if we want to have a serious debate, an awkward, difficult debate of where Afghanistan is going, we spent more time talking about Afghanistan in the last couple of days because of my visit that I'm pleased about. And absolutely, yes, I put my hand up and say that that video could be done better. You can keep returning back to that video as much as you like. That doesn't actually get us back to the bigger point of what we are doing internationally to help women and children in that country.
Given the reaction to the video, which is actually, as you know, something that you put into the public domain, clearly had no idea the reaction it was going to provoke, or you wouldn't have done it. But given the cross-party fury about this, given the media fury about this, given the fury of so many people in Afghanistan, given there's now a report in the Times that there's a plot currently being undergone to remove you from your position of chair of the Defence Committee, will you be considering your position?
I'm travelling with the Defence Committee here in India, where I am right now, and we're working very well together. There is no support for any of what is going on back in the UK. I make it very clear. I don't know how many times I can say this to you, Piers. You keep returning back to it, and you don't allow us to move on. I put my hand up. You know, I step forward on many occasions and say things, perhaps, which other MPs won't say. And occasionally, yes, I say things the wrong way. Because of Twitter, a storm then comes about it, and I have to deal with it. I'll be very clear. The last couple of days have probably been the most miserable as a member of Parliament. I got it wrong, Piers. I don't know how many times you'd like me to say that. But I stand by the fact that Afghanistan is in a very bad place. The economy will collapse. We have some difficult questions.
OK, can I suggest something? Will you delete the video?
I'm happy to do so, sir. I'm absolutely happy to do so.
Will you do that immediately this interview is over? Because that would indicate you genuinely are remorseful.
Of course I am. And I will not go further to that. I'll then put out a clarification clarification of a statement to do so. But there is an underlying message that we've not spoken about Afghanistan. I don't know when you last brought it up on your program. It has been abandoned. The DFID budget for the United Nations.
Yeah, you do, so you don't have to, Tobias, with respect, you haven't got to lecture me about Afghanistan. My brother was a serving British Army colonel who served tours in Afghanistan, so I'm very aware of Afghanistan. I've covered it a lot over the last years. I was extremely critical of the way we withdrew with the Americans from Afghanistan. That was a total debacle. But I also happen to think the Taliban are a bunch of ruthless wolves who have taken the poor women of Afghanistan back to the Dark Ages. And I think, unfortunately, you got used in some way which provoked you to do that video, which just looked like it was promoting the Taliban, which I think was a catastrophic error of judgment. And I've known you a long time, and I'd rather be straight with you and tell you that. I think the best thing you could do is to finish this interview and delete that video and then explain why you deleted it. I think that would go a long way to putting people's minds at rest that you're not some Taliban stooge, which is how people view it.
Yes, it still doesn't answer the question, and I will do all that, make that very, very clear, as to what is our strategy to help the 40 million people who feel abandoned, and we then ceded power to the Taliban. These are, I'm afraid, the awkward questions that when everybody has moved on from this storm right now, we have to still
I absolutely agree, there are very important questions, but doing a promo video for the Taliban is not any way to go answering them. So I hope that you now delete it and explain why you're doing that, and I appreciate you coming on. And doubtless we'll talk about other things another time.
Thank you.